Hi everybody, it's Paul Kelly. I'm here in my workshop with Greg Wells from Greg's Golf Shack, and we are going to pull apart and rebuild Greg's irons to replace the steel shafts with some graphite shafts that we fitted at a previous session.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun experiment. We talked about this in our little interview, why we're kind of going this route. We did a fitting, and these were sort of the results.
Yep.
I understand you're going to check some clubs and see what's going on.
We're going to start off all the time with measuring the baselines, measuring the weight, the swing weight, and the overall length of the club, so that when we put everything back, we put them back together the same way. Excellent. Now, we know that when we go to graphite, part of the thing is that the swing weight will be lower.
Okay.
We know that. And then we'll decide, do we want to bring it back up again, or do we want to leave it at the stock specs for graphite for those clubs, which are a lower swing weight than the steel specs.
And I'm sure we're going to see a big difference, or I'm going to feel a big one, because when you measured my original club, it was kind of out of whack, wasn't it, with the heavy grips and things?
It was.
And, you know, I kind of want to point out, there's a lot of videos out there that might show people how to repair a golf club or something. I've even got a couple out there just as a hobbyist, as a do-it-yourselfer. I need to get this professionally done. I want it done right. There's a difference, because if you want to be a hobbyist and just fix a club, that's one thing, but there's a lot of elements of risk that could go wrong.
There are. We just bought graphite shafts, which are expensive.
Yeah.
We don't want to ruin them. Right. We don't want to ruin the heads. It's a premium, super nice set of clubs, and when they're finished and go in your hands, we want those to look and feel like they just came out of the box from the factory. Yeah.
You don't get much room for error with this kind of thing when you're using epoxy and stuff,
there's
do
not.
you?
No.
So you ruin a shaft, it's garbage.
We're going to do it right, do it once.
Yeah. And, you know, it's also how things could go wrong if you're not using the right materials, the right tools. If this head isn't fastened properly, someone could get hurt out on the golf course. If you're in a sim, you could damage equipment. Yep. So I wanted this done right. I'm here to see Paul so we can get this done.
I'm going to start off by measuring everything, move on from there.
Excellent. Let's check it out. Get started.
Starting off, we have the Srixon ZX I4 irons with KBS Torlite regular flex shafts.
Okay.
So these should be about 1/4 of an inch longer than most other companies' specs.
Okay.
The Srixon does theirs a little bit longer. They should come in at about a D2 swing weight, which is what their specs are. And this is D2 exactly.
Excellent.
And that this should then be 37¼ inches long for this 7-iron.
Okay.
And we are at 37¼ inches exactly. So we have factory standard specs all the way through.
Okay.
We're going to see how close we can get back to those, knowing that the graphite, when it goes in there, drops the swing weight to C9.
All right.
That's how the clubs are engineered to be with that shaft.
All right.
If C9 is good enough for Srixon, in all of their research and all their development, we don't want to try and drive that up to D2 or D3 at the end of it.
Okay.
Okay, so Greg, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the head off of this one. We are going to dry fit the new shaft in there, see where it goes. We'll cut it to proper length, then we'll swing weight it with the grip dry fit to it and see where we come out.
Okay.
So that gives us an idea what we need to do before we start construction.
All right. Is there special tools? Do you have to heat that up or anything?
We are going to heat this up. I'm going to heat it up with a blowtorch, pull it off, clean out the head, set the shaft aside, put the new shaft in, cut it to length, balance it out, see where we go.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Thanks.
So one of the things I always want to check for is, depending on the manufacturer, some of these have a straight hole at the end of the hosel that goes into the head.
Oh, okay.
And they have a little tiny plastic cap that sits there that stops the glue from falling in.
Oh, interesting.
If you bust that and you're not aware of it and you go to seat everything in, then glue leaks down into the head and it will break loose at a longer time, and that's why you get a rattle. So what I'm doing is I'm just checking, cleaning out some residue at the bottom.
Okay.
You hear that scraping?
Yeah.
So that's metal. That means that the
hosel
has a dead end to it, which makes everything so much easier to work with.
Okay, good.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to drill all this out, get all the old glue, get all the residue so it's clean, so the new epoxy can go in and adhere to it.
Okay.
What's nice about some of these companies is that if you see the inside of the hosel, it's all spirals.
Oh, yeah.
So those are pockets and fingers for epoxy to sit in. Some are just straight, flush, smooth. This one goes in, it just binds really, really good.
So when it's smooth, you have to rough up that surface, I
have
guess?
to rough up, yeah, I rough it up inside and I rough up the shaft. But we're not going to be able to rough up graphite, so this is really nice.
Good.
Okay. Now I've got everything cleaned out with the wire brush, but there's always some form of residue in there. So basically I just take a couple of Q-tips and some acetone, which gets rid of epoxy and residue and all that stuff. And we can see what comes off. So this just flushes it and makes it nice. If it's really difficult, I'll just fill it up with acetone, because acetone doesn't hurt metal, and I'll let it sit there for 5 minutes, and then it just eats everything that's there.
Okay.
There we go.
Sparkling.
Sparkling clean. So before we prep the shaft, I'm going to dry fit everything and make sure that we cut it to length of our final length of what we want, so that then we can swing weight it in advance of putting it together and see if we need to make adjustments.
Okay.
So we were at 37¼ inches. We are going to be at 37¼ We always want to make sure that the mark I just made equates to the same length as this. So even though I've measured it and then measured it again, I just put the old shaft back exactly where it was with the ferrule, and then I can have a look and see where my mark is.
Right on.
Right on, just leaving me that less than 1/8 for the rounded top of the grip cap.
Okay. The research of what shaft fits in what club is really important. There's different diameters and measurements, and you need somebody who knows what they're talking about.
And we're doing taper tip shafts, and taper tip shafts, for people who don't know, are shafts that down here it starts off and it tapers down, tapers down, tapers down. Most shafts on the market are parallel tips, so it's the same dimension from about the last 7 or 8 inches all the way down.
Okay.
And when you're buying parallel tip shafts, you buy those and then you cut them from the bottom for each specific club to give you the flex. Then you insert them and you trim them at length from the butt end.
Okay.
These ones, there is no trimming here. You're buying a 7-iron shaft for a 7-iron. And then it fits in, because you can't trim these because they're taper tipped and they won't go in the head. What we'll do now is always want to cut graphite with tape wrapped around it. It stops it from splintering. Measure twice, cut once.
All right, so we're cut to length with that one.
We're cut to length. This is our one dry fit to see where we're going to be ballpark before we go anywhere else.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to bother to put a ferrule on because it's so insignificant. I will make a compensation for the weight of the glue that we're using. Now, we have a grip. We are at D0.
Okay.
Okay. We're looking for C9 to match the factory specs.
Okay.
So by the time I put a strip of tape here, that and a little dab of epoxy here, we should be somewhere around C9 to D0.
Okay.
And one swing weight point is very good, because even in the manufacturer's tolerance, you're going to see a half a swing weight point or a swing weight point. So now we have a different grip here, which is a heavier weight.
Okay.
If I put a heavier grip on here, then the head side feels much lighter, and now it will swing weight significantly lighter by several points, and I would probably have to add something to the head to offset that.
Ah.
So now I'm come down another, I'm at D8, so I've lost, say, 1.5 swing weight points.
Wow.
If you went extreme and said I went from a 50 gram to, say, an 85 gram, that would really affect it. That would drive the swing weight down so low that it would feel kind of almost like there was no head on it at all.
That's really interesting, because I think a lot of people will like go on a website, pick a grip that looks good, or it might have some neat texture or something, and not realize how much influence it's
when it comes from the factory and it comes from, say, Callaway or Ping or Titleist or someone, that's all built into it. But if you just change your grip and go to something big, you're changing the whole engineering of the club. Okay, so now, Greg, what we're going to do is I'm going to take off the glossy finish, because the epoxy won't adhere to this.
Okay.
So this is just there until you go to take it off, and then we have graphite on steel and it'll stick. So what we've done is I've dry fitted in here, and I've put some masking tape just above it, about 1/8 of an inch, so I know how much to take off. And the reason I put it in above that is so that I still have a little tiny bit of shaft grabbing the ferrule inside.
Okay,
So the
good.
ferrule will stay there and won't slide up the shaft, because if I put the ferrule onto the glossy part completely and there's nothing to bite, it could come loose.
Okay.
All right, so we've dry fit this in. We know it's at the bottom. I can feel it. And now I'm just going to take off the finish with a really, really light, kind of super light sandpaper, just touching it. As so. So we didn't change the diameter, we just took the polish off of it. So now,
Nice.
see a little, fits in a little bit nicer now.
Room for the epoxy in there.
Room for the epoxy in there. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to install the ferrules, set them at the right length so that they sit on the head, then epoxy the heads in, set them off to cure for the night, and then we're done for today. Equal parts, 2-part epoxy. I basically go back and forth each time I go, that's 1 club.
Oh, really?
So I did 8 passes, that's 8 clubs.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Does this give you a little bit of time to work with it, or is it
Yeah,
pretty quick?
yeah, I got time to work with this.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to call for a shaft, and we'll do all the ferrules first, because then I do something different for the glue for the rest of them. 6-iron.
Okay. Here's our 6-iron shaft.
We're set good. We want to make sure, because it's a taper tip shaft, we're getting more and more pressure on the ferrule going up the shaft. So now we want to compare it to the insertion depth of the shaft that came out of it.
Okay, so
Always rechecking,
here's our...
because it feels like it bottoms out, but it may not have.
So the ferrule could be providing
The
like
ferrule
just a little
could be
too much
providing
resistance.
too much resistance for it.
Okay.
We're good.
Nice.
So now I'll just wipe off the little bit of excess epoxy on the top, and I'll set that aside for a minute. All right, 7-iron. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm adding a little what's called shafting beads, which is kind of like almost like sand, ground up glass. I'm adding it to the mix. It's called basically quick center.
Okay.
So because I'm adding grit into the or texture into it, the shaft can't off center itself. It can't have, you know, all the epoxy on one side because it's got grit there. So
I see.
it's just a good standard practice to do.
So you're putting the heads on now here, Paul. It seems to be a pretty quick process at this point when you're
At
slipping
this
the head
point
on.
now, it's assembly, and we've done the prep work of measuring 5 and 6 and 7 times so that I can now just go through and do the assembly. How do you want your shaft logo oriented? Do you want to see it or do you want it hidden?
I think I'd like it up, so we have this.
So it's lined up square to your leading edge?
Yeah, I think I'd like that.
Perfect.
That looks great.
Okay, so now we are going to make sure everything is wiped off here good. We're going to cure it overnight. Okay,
It was nice to watch the master work.
8 shafts assembled. Now they have to cure overnight. Tomorrow we cut them down, grip them, record the weights. Everything's done and good. Now, I'm curing them in my own little invention.
Okay.
I've got a FootJoy sock cooler. FootJoy used to send to golf courses coolers full of FootJoy socks, and that was your display. At the end of it, you have a cooler. So what I've done is, because epoxy cures much better at a nice warm temperature rather than in a cold garage, I have put a heating pad in there like I have in my bed, and I've rigged up a little jig so that the clubs sit up straight, and then I just put the lid on, turn on the heating pad,
Nice.
and now they cure at probably 90 or 95 degrees rather than out here. What I always do is, whatever I mix the epoxy on, I put it in with the heating pad.
Okay.
So in the morning when we go to reshaft these, if that epoxy is not cured on the parchment paper,
Yeah.
is not cured in the golf club.
Makes sense.
So we get to double check before anything leaves, and if for some reason it didn't cure, then the process starts over again. So we're done until tomorrow.
Okay.
We've oriented everything logo up, because that's where you want it. You want to see the logo flush square with the front edge of the golf club.
Yeah.
So it's all square. We're good to go till tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks,
Perfect.
Paul. This is a blast.
Okay, Greg, we're down to the second last step, regripping the clubs. So now what we got is the grips that you have supplied for me. So we don't need any wraps on these. We've already determined that. So I'm just going to mark the length of what I need.
This is exciting. We're into day 2 here. I couldn't stop thinking about it all night long, so I can't wait to hit these clubs a little bit later on. So it was great. We came in today, and again, Paul checked all the measurements again just to make sure they were the epoxy
5
all
times.
dried. Yep, 5 times. We'll probably measure them again. Who knows? But epoxy was all rock solid, so everything was good to go. Your contraption over there worked really well.
The grips are going on. We've got a little bit of work to do to get the grips on, get them all done, and then take our final step, which is just polishing everything up and fine-tuning it.
It's important to remind folks too that this is the result of a fitting. These, we've talked about it before, but these are to spec based on what Paul and I experimented with to find out what would be best for my swing, for the feels of my body. We're making a very educated decision. It's very scientific, and I was really impressed that Paul had done the research on the club heads that I had. When I showed up here, he had a whole chart ready to go to say what the lengths were, what the weights were, what they should be, so we can approach that the most informed way possible, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about the details. The construction side of it is a little bit of experience and a lot of tediousness, but it's the details going forward, you know, and in the past of capturing everything, quadruple checking everything before you cut anything.
Yeah.
Checking your balance and your swing weights multiple times before you do anything. Just making sure that there's no possible way that anything got confused or anything got messed up or anything got overlooked. Because the last thing we want to do is take these apart.
So what's the next step, Paul?
Next step is to put the finishing touches on. So we put new ferrules on, and they're not going to line up exactly perfectly square with the edge of here because the ferrules are made big so that they'll fit a multiple different sizes.
Okay.
So right here we can,
I can hear it.
there's an edge there. The ferrule's
can
slightly
hear it.
bigger. So we're going to turn that down.
Nice.
We're going to polish it down and then put a little bit of polish liquid on it so that it comes out perfectly and that when you do this, there will not be any edge.
This is some attention to detail. Like, that's barely noticeable. Oh my, that's
Right?
smooth.
Now there's a perfect, no transition. All right, so now we're down to the almost final step. We turned them down. There's no more click. There's no more grab when you run your fingernail over here. Now I just got a little bit of acetone and I just polish it. We put some tape on here to make sure we don't put acetone on the shaft. And then I just very, very lightly buff it. And then we end up with high gloss finish like out of the factory.
Wow, yeah, it looks like brand new. Ooh, Paul, these are looking nice. I'm excited.
This final finished product, all done.
Now, you wouldn't believe it, but we weighed them again too, didn't we?
We weighed everything, we swing weighted again. Everything came out within about a half a swing weight point of from highest to lowest. So very precision all the way through. So to recap what we did. From the very beginning, we did a fitting. We determined what was the best shaft for you. We didn't do any guessing and say, I project that this would work. You tested things, you saw what you could do with it, you liked what it was, you ordered shafts. We took your clubs, we measured everything of where they were, the length, the swing weight, the total weight, got it all. Then we pulled them all apart, cleaned out the heads, dry fit the new shafts into length with the weight of the grip, factoring it in everything so that we knew where the swing weight would come out. If we needed to make adjustments, we did. Mm-hmm. Then we installed the shafts, the ferrules, let them all cure overnight, cut them down today, put grips on them, turned down the ferrules, and then polished them. Reweighted everything again, double checked all the perfect lengths, swing weights where we wanted them to go. Finished product.
It sounds like a lot of work. It is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Precision and expertise goes into it, but I got to say, you look like you were having fun doing it too.
I am having fun. I like this kind of stuff because it's not tedious. You got to kind of keep your mind in it at all times.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't have to feel like you have to go out and buy new clubs if something just doesn't quite suit you, if it's a small adjustment. You can actually tailor the clubs you have.
We can, and that's what the fitting does. It tells us what's going to be best for you.
Best to do that before you buy golf clubs,
Absolutely.
right? And you're not married to any specific brand. You're certified, your expertise falls in line with
I'm
lots of
certified with
different...
just about every brand that's out there as an authorized fitting for them. I'm actually a fitting agent and depot for Callaway, Mizuno, Ping, Cobra, Titleist, and a little bit of TaylorMade.
Wow. So if people come to you for a fitting and they're not sure, unless they're a specific brand person or something, when your fit carts come in, you've got a lot of different equipment, a lot of different models and things.
Literally hundreds of shafts and probably 100 heads.
Wow.
That's what fitting does. We're trying to optimize the ball flight, trying to optimize the flight, the apex, the trajectory, the spin, the landing angle, dispersion, front to back dispersion, side to side accuracy, trying to do all that. And at the end of it, I present a report to the people and say, here's what was working best for you.
You know, you and I, Paul, we always advocate for lessons, improve your golf swing, but it is really important to understand that improving your golf swing, your golf game, can also rely on the equipment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we had a goal for you, and you made a couple of swing tweaks, and this is going to help it again.
Yeah.
Because it's going to change how the balance feels on everything.
I'm looking forward to it.
And our main goal, we went into this for what was our main goal reason?
It was just to swing healthier.
Swing healthier, feel less impact on the body. This is going to do it. And I'm really excited to hear back from you tomorrow after you get home and try these out and see how they work.
I can't wait, and you are definitely going to hear from me. And you know what? I think Paul's looking forward to hearing from you folks too. Get fit, improve your golf game, play a better game.
Thanks for watching, folks.
Make sure you like and subscribe to both our channels. We'll see you next time.
All right.